Shadow Pokemon are some of the strongest Pokemon in Pokemon Go, but with the next Team GO Rocket Takeover taking place very soon on the 16th, some of the Shadow Pokemon that are currently available will rotate out and they might not return to the game for a while. So in this video, I will be going through all of the Shadow Pokemon that you should catch now before they're gone. And just before I get into it, here are some quick things you need to know about Shadow Pokemon. They all come with the Charge Attack Frustration that can only be removed via Charge TM during special events, mostly Team GO Rocket Takeovers, and you are going to want to take advantage of this because Frustration is useless. Shadow Pokemon do 20% more damage and take 20% more damage, meaning even a Shadow Pokemon with 0 IVs in most cases will do more damage than a 100% IV non-Shadow version. Shadow Pokemon can't be traded, but they can be purified by using a certain number of Candy and Stardust, and when purified they can be traded, but it will be classed as a special trade. And the purification process does add +2 IVs to all 3 stats. And you can get Shadow Pokemon from Team GO Rocket Grunts that appear in balloons every 6 hours, and they appear randomly at Pokestops as well. You can also get them from Team GO Rocket Leaders, Giovanni and Shadow Raids, but more on them later. So starting with the normal type grunt that says the line normal does not mean weak, you can encounter Shadow Slackoth, Bidoof and Bunnelby. And out of these it is Shadow Bunnelby that you want to pick up because Shadow Diggersby is ranked 42 in the Great League. You might also want to pick up Shadow Bidoof because it is one of those Pokemon with a low purification cost. It only requires 1000 Stardust and 1 Candy. So if you need to purify Pokemon to progress your Platinum Purifier medal, or if you need it for a task, this Pokemon is a good option to purify to save on Stardust. For the fire type grunt that is identified by the line, do you know how hot Pokemon Fire Breath can get? You can get an encounter with Shadow Darumaka, Numel or Tepig. And of these, Shadow Darumaka's evolution, Shadow Darmanitan, is the 14th best fire type raid attacker with Fire Fang and Overheat. And even better is Shadow Tepig's evolution, Shadow Ember, which is the 10th best fire type attacker with Ember and Blast Burn. So Shadow Tepig is a decent option to pick up. For the water type female grunt that says the line these waters are treacherous, you can encounter Shadow Oshawott, Spheal and Staryu. And of these, Shadow Oshawott could be worth it for Shadow Samurott for Go Battle League, where it is ranked 85 in the Great League and it's ranked 77 in the Ultra League. It is also the 9th best water type attacker with Fury Cutter and Hydro Cannon. And from the water type male grunt, you can get an encounter with Shadow Magikarp, and Shadow Gyarados is a good target because not only is it the 12th best water type raid attacker with Waterfall and Hydro Pump, it does also have relevance in all 3 of the main Go Battle Leagues. In the Great League it's ranked 50, in the Ultra League it's ranked 96, and it's ranked 55 in the Master League. And again, like Shadow Bidoof, Shadow Magikarp is a low cost purification. Now moving on to the electric type grunt that says the line get ready to be shocked, you can encounter Shadow Joltik, Mareep and Magnemite. Out of these, Shadow Magnemite is the target, with Shadow Magnezone being the 9th best electric type raid attacker with Volt Switch and Wild Charge. Shadow Magnemite can also be shiny from this grunt. For the grass type grunt that says the line don't tangle with us, you can encounter Shadow Hoppip, Seedot or Snivy. None of these have any relevance currently, so I wouldn't really prioritize going after this one unless you're shiny hunting Seedot, but do also bear in mind that Shadow Seedot is available in Shadow Raids currently, and it does have a higher shiny rate from Shadow Raids, being 1 in 64 compared to 1 in 256 from a grunt. Next we have the ice type grunt that says the line you're going to be frozen in your tracks. You can encounter Shadow Amora, Sneasel and Swinub. And in contrast to the grass type grunt, all of the Pokemon from the ice grunt do have relevance. Firstly, Shadow Amora's evolution, Shadow Aurorus, is ranked 81 in the Great League and ranked 41 in the Ultra League. For Shadow Sneasel, which can be shiny, Shadow Weavile is the 6th best ice type attacker with Ice Shard and Triple Axle, and it's the 7th best dark type attacker with Snarl and Foul Play. And lastly for Swinub, Shadow Mamoswine is the 8th best ground type with Mud Slap and high horsepower, and it's the 3rd best ice type with Powder Snow and Avalanche. It is also ranked 91 in the Master League. Moving on to the fighting type grunt that says the line this buff physique isn't just for show, you can get an encounter with Shadow Machop, Makuhita, Mankey, Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan and Gurdurr. Starting with Shadow Machop, which can be shiny from this grunt, Shadow Machamp is the 10th best fighting type raid attacker with best moveset, counter and dynamic punch. It's also ranked 45 in the Great League, ranked 100 in the Ultra League, and ranked 116 in the Master League. Shadow Makuhita's evolution, Shadow Hariyama, isn't a bad option for a fighting type attacker as well, because it is the 13th best with Force Palm and Dynamic Punch. Shadow Mankey is one for Go Battle League, with Shadow Annihilate being ranked 41 in the Great League, ranked 59 in the Ultra League, and ranked 36 in the Master League. And Shadow Gurdurr is also worth it for Shadow Conkeldurr, which is the 5th best fighting type overall with best moveset, counter and Dynamic Punch. Next we have the Poison poison type grunt that says the line coiled and ready to strike. From this grunt you can encounter Shadow Tentacool, Skorupi, Trubbish, Nidorino and Nidorina. Firstly, Shadow Tentacool, which can be shiny, is worth it for Ultra League where Shadow Tentacruel is ranked 49. Likewise, Shadow Skorupi's evolution Shadow Drapion sees some play in the Ultra League as well, being ranked 105. This Pokemon can also be shiny from these grunts. Shadow Trubbish doesn't really have any meta relevance, but it is a Stardust boosted Pokemon that gives 750 Stardust per catch. And lastly, Shadow Nidorina is a good one to pick up for Ultra League as well, with Shadow Nidoqueen being ranked 69. Moving on to the ground type grunt that does say the line you'll be defeated into the ground, you can encounter Shadow Sandshrew, Gligar, Drillbur, Rhyhorn, Donphan and Vibrava. Firstly, Gligar is another one for Go Battle League where it is ranked 60 in the Great League, and its evolution Shadow Gliscor is ranked 62 in the Ultra League. Shadow Gligar is also a shiny eligible Pokemon. We then have Shadow Drillbur, and Shadow Excadrill is a great Pokemon for raid attacking, where it is the 6th best ground type with Mudslap and Scorching Sands, and it's the 8th best steel type with Metal Claw and Iron Head. Not only that, but it is ranked 84 in the Master League as well. And Drillbur candy is always worth it for Max Excadrill as well, which is the best ground type attacker for max battles and a strong tank and healer for it. Shadow Rhyhorn is also a great target, with Shadow Rhyperior being the 7th best ground type with Mudslap and Earthquake, and it's the 2nd best rock type with Smackdown and Rock Wrecker. It's also ranked 47 in the Master League. For the flying type grunt that says the line battle against my flying type Pokemon, you can encounter Shadow Fletchling, Tailo or Pikipek. Out of these, Shadow Fletchling has the most relevance, with Shadow Talonflame being ranked 95 in the Ultra League. This Pokemon along with Shadow Pikipek are low cost purification Pokemon which can be useful. Now for the psychic grunt that says the line are you scared of psychics that use unseen power, you can encounter Shadow Ralts and Shadow Inkay, and both of these are worthy targets. Shadow Ralts, which can be shiny, is a good one to pick up for raid attacking, where Shadow Gardevoir is the 17th best psychic type with Confusion and Psychic, and it's the 4th best fairy with Charm and Dazzling Gleam. And for Shadow Inkay, its evolution Shadow Malamar is ranked 26 in the Great League and ranked 18 in the Ultra League. Next we have the bug type grunt that says the line go my super bug Pokemon. From this grunt you can get Shadow Pineco, Grubbin, Scyther, Carablast, Shelmet and Anorith. Whilst not as relevant as its non-Shadow counterpart, Shadow Pineco is worth going after because Shadow Forretress is ranked 80 in the Great League and ranked 54 in the Ultra League. Shadow Pineco is also shiny eligible. Shadow Grubbin could also be worth it for Shadow Vikavolt, being the 13th best electric type attacker with Volt Switch and Discharge, and it's the 4th best bug type with Bug Bite and X Scissor. And for Shadow Scyther, its evolution Shadow Sizzle is the 7th best bug type with Fury Cutter and X Scissor. From the rock type grunt that says the line let's rock and roll, you can encounter Shadow Amora, Tyrant, Roggenrola, Graveler, Shieldon and Cranidos. Shadow Amora is worth it like I mentioned before, and so is its counterpart Shadow Tyrant, because Shadow Tyrantrum is the 6th best rock type attacker with Rock Throw and Meteor Beam. We do then have Shadow Roggenrola, and Shadow Gigalith is the 8th best rock type with Smackdown and Meteor Beam. And Shadow Cranidos' evolution Shadow Rampardos is even better as a rock type attacker, being the 4th best with Smackdown and Rock Slide. And Shadow Shieldon's evolution Shadow Bastiodon isn't quite as relevant as its non-shadow form, but it is ranked 33 in the Great League. For the ghost type grunt that says this line, you can get an encounter with Shadow Ghastly, Golett, Duskull, Dusclops, Haunter and Sableye. Shadow Ghastly and Haunter are strong encounters because Shadow Gengar is the 8th best ghost type attacker with Lick and Shadow Ball, and it's the 8th best poison type attacker with Lick and Sludge Bomb. It's also ranked 99 in the Ultra League. And Shadow Golett's evolution Shadow Golurk is a decent Go Battle League Pokemon, where it is ranked 36 in the Great League and ranked 76 in the Ultra League. And Shadow Duskull and Dusclops are also good encounters for Go Battle League, where Shadow Dusknoir is ranked one of the highest in the Great League at rank 10, and it's ranked even higher at rank 8 in the Ultra League. And Shadow Sableye is ranked 52 in the Great League. Moving on to the Dragon type grunt that says the line roar how did that sound, you can get an encounter with Shadow Dratini, Bagon, Tyrant, Dragonair, Alolan Exeggutor and Gabite. Firstly, it is worth noting that all of these encounters will be helpful with getting your Dragon Tamer Platinum Medal if you're after it, because Dragon Pokemon are generally some of the rarer Pokemon. Shadow Dratini, which can be shiny, and Shadow Dragonair are good targets because Shadow Dragonite is the 10th best Dragon type with Dragon Tail and Outrage. It's also ranked 37 in the Great League and ranked 31 in the Master League, so it's an all-round great Pokemon to have. Shadow Bagon is another great target, with Shadow Salamence being the 7th best Dragon type with Dragon Tail and Outrage, and it's the 4th best Flying type with Dragon Tail and Fly. It's also ranked 50 in the Master League. Shadow Tyrantrum is also relevant like I mentioned before with the Rock type grunt, and lastly for this grunt, Shadow Gabite is a great encounter because Shadow Garchomp is the 4th best Dragon type with Dragon Tail and Breaking Swipe, and it's the 4th best Ground type with Mudshot and Earth Power. Now for the Dark type grunt that says the line wherever there is light there is also shadow, you can get an encounter with Shadow Alolan Rattata, Cacnea and Carvanha. None of these have any meta relevance, but Shadow Alolan Rattata is a low cost purification if you need it. Do note as well that Shadow Cacnea and Shadow Carvanha can be shiny. shiny. For the Steel type grunt that says the line, "You're no match for my Iron Will," you can encounter Shadow Alolan Sandshrew, Alolan Diglett, and Beldum. Shadow Alolan Sandshrew is a good encounter, with Shadow Alolan Sandslash being ranked 66 in the Great League. But the standout encounter from this grunt is Shadow Beldum, which can be shiny, and Shadow Metagross is the 10th best Psychic type with Zen Headbutt and Psychic, and it's the 4th best Steel type attacker with Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash. And the 3 Steel type attackers that are ahead of it are Crown Zacian, Crown Zamazenta, and Duskmane Necrozma, which aren't as accessible. Shadow Metagross is also ranked 27 in the Master League, which is really good for a non-legendary or mythical in the Master League. Beldum Candy is also useful for Max Metagross, which is a strong Steel type attacker for max battles, and it's a decent tank. We then have the Fairy type grunt that says the line, "Check out my cute Pokemon," and from this grunt you can get an encounter with Shadow Snubbull, Mawile, Alolan Vulpix, Galarian Weezing, and Curlier. Firstly, whilst it doesn't have any meta relevance, you can get shiny Shadow Mawile from this grunt. Shadow Alolan Vulpix is decent for Go Battle League, with Shadow Alolan Ninetales being ranked 71 in the Great League and ranked 58 in the Ultra League. Similarly, Shadow Galarian Weezing is a good encounter for Go Battle League because it is ranked 62 in the Great League and it's ranked even higher at rank 15 in the Ultra League. And lastly, as I mentioned before with Shadow Routes, Shadow Curlier is worth picking up for Shadow Gardevoir's meta relevance as a Fairy type raid attacker. Now moving on to the grunts that say the line, "Winning is for winners." From the male grunt that says this line, you can encounter Shadow Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. Firstly, for Shadow Bulbasaur, Shadow Venusaur is the 8th best grass type attacker with Vine Whip and Frenzy Plant. Shadow Charmander could be worth it for Shadow Charizard being the 11th best fire type with Fire Spin and Blast Burn. And for Shadow Squirtle, Shadow Blastoise is more of a Go Battle League Pokemon, where it is ranked 86 in the Ultra League. And for the female winning is for winners grunt, you can encounter Shadow Snorlax, which doesn't really have any meta relevance, but the candy could be useful for Gmax Snorlax if you have it, because it does have some relevance in max battles as a tank or a healer. And each time you beat a grunt, you do get a mysterious component, and when you combine 6 of these, you can make a Rocket Radar. You can then equip this item to try and track down Team Go Rocket leaders Cliff, Sierra, and Arlo, which can also appear in balloons or at Pokestops. And whilst there is a good chance that a lot of the Shadow Pokemon from the Team Go Rocket grunts will be rotated out, with the Team Go Rocket leaders, they will definitely have new Pokemon. From Cliff, you can currently encounter Shadow Cyndaquil, and this Pokemon does see some play in the Ultra League, being ranked 167. Beating Arlo can get you Shadow Chikorita, which doesn't really have any meta relevance currently, but from Sierra, you can get an encounter with Shadow Totodile, and its evolution Shadow Feraligatr does have meta relevance. It's ranked 54 in the Great League, and it's one of the highest ranking Pokemon in the Ultra League, being ranked 11. And to battle the Team Go Rocket boss Giovanni, you do need to get a Super Rocket Radar from a Team Go Rocket Takeover special research. And once you progress through the special research and you get the Super Rocket Radar, you can equip it like a normal Rocket Radar to try and find Giovanni in a balloon or at a Pokestop. Do note though, if you are trying to hunt him down at a Pokestop, you may run into Decoy Grunts, and this grunt will get you an encounter with Shadow Bellsprout. And Shadow Victory Bell doesn't really have any meta relevance currently, but Victory Bell has recently had a Mega Evolution announced that could potentially have some meta relevance when it comes to the game in the future. So maybe you want to purify a Shadow Victory Bell for that to try and get +2 IVs to reach a hundo. But when you do eventually track down Giovanni and beat him, you will get an encounter with Shadow Giratina Altered, and this Pokemon is well worth picking up before the next Team Go Rocket Takeover, because firstly it's not a bad Ghost type attacker, being the 12th best with Shadow Claw and Shadow Force, but where it shines the most is in Go Battle League. It's ranked 46 in the Great League, it's ranked 60 in the Ultra League, and it's ranked 61 in the Master League. And as well as these Shadow Pokemon rotating out, the Shadow Pokemon from Shadow Raids will probably do the same. Shadow Teddiursa is the highlight from 1-star Shadow Raids, because Shadow Ursaluna is the 10th best normal type with Tackle and Swift, and it does have some relevance in the Master League, being ranked 101. Do note though that all of these 1-star Shadow Raid bosses can be shiny. And from 3-star Shadow Raids, we do have Shadow Absol, which is the 12th best Dark type with Snarl and Brutal Swing, and it can be shiny. Shadow Whirlipede may also be a good target, with Shadow Scolipede being the 11th best Poison type with Poison Jab and Sludge Bomb. Now with the Team Go Rocket Takeover coming up on the 16th of September, if you want to know more about other events going on in September, then I recommend checking out this video on the screen next.